Hi, I'm Bill Patrick. The program you're about to see is part of a vintage series called Car and Track, which was originally produced during the first half of the 1970s. Before we begin the show, though, a brief program note. Using as many as 8 cameras to shoot a single event, Car and Track captured some of the great NASCAR competitions of the era, one race at a time. Over the course of some 80 episodes through 6 seasons, series producer and host Bud Lindemann lovingly documented a unique era in American motor racing. While the race action contained in the series remains timeless, the program itself has not dated quite so gracefully. Although the years have not been overly kind to Bud's decidedly low-key introductions and interviews, we believe them to be an integral part of this one-of-a-kind series. So please, stay with us now as Speed Vision presents a rare slice of 1970s Americana, Car and Track.
Hi there. Welcome into another 30-minute tire smoker. Today's show features one of our 2-car comparison road tests with back-to-back ring-outs of 2 of the best-selling intermediates in the country, the Mercury Cougar XR7 and the Oldsmobile Cutlass Salon. Now, they're top-of-the-line cars and very, very posh. The race portion of this show happened in Phoenix, Arizona, a 150-miler spotlighting the Indianapolis Championship cars. And hey, we also have an item of interest for you weekend vagabonds that like to head for the woods and trails with a mini car. You know, I think you'll like this one. We'll meet you at the test track after this message.
The nameplate said Mercury Cougar. That's why we knew it wasn't a T-Bird or a Montego. Whatever happened to the posh, jazzy little pony car? Well, it obviously fell into the Ford calorie tank and fattened up, like so many entries from the Ford stable. This fat cat now sits on a wheelbase of 114 inches. There's enough light back here to keep the bulb manufacturers in business for another 5 years. Leather, glove-soft vinyl, wood trim, and a whole mess of instruments make up one of the plushest interiors of any personal luxury-type car on the market for the money. The action starts up front with this 460 cubic inch V8 fed through a 4-barrel carburetor and topped off with a load of emission controls. With all that muscle up front, we expected more in the acceleration runs than it gave us. 30 happened 3.5 seconds after we left the line. The 50-mile-an-hour run took exactly 7 seconds. On our third run, the emission controls let us reach 70 miles an hour in a little over 14 seconds. The Cat ET'd the quarter mile in 18.20. We ran the first passing test from 30 to 50. It took 7.2 seconds. Going from 50 to 70 ate up 9.5. Power-assisted front disc brakes are standard on the Cougar this year, and they do help. We stopped from 30 in 38 feet. At 50 miles an hour, strange things started to happen. The pedal began a noticeable fade. Correction was necessary in steering to keep it in a straight line, and it took 109 feet to stop. We had the brakes hot for this 70-mile-an-hour stop. No amount of correction would keep it from pulling to the right. We thought the nose would dive right into the asphalt. 209 feet brought it to a halt with smoke and binders. Lincoln Mercury made a departure from the unitized body for this new Cougar. They now employ a body and frame construction. The body is designed to be relatively rigid, while the torque box frame is semi-flexible. We noticed this flexing through the pylon course. We also noticed excessive body lean, with rebound and recovery very sluggish. If it only handled as good as it looked. As I watched it on the track, I found it hard to believe that somewhere back around 1967, Dan Gurney drove a Cougar in the Trans Am series. The front suspension features a coil spring on the single lower control arm. The new 4-link rear suspension has coil springs, 2 upper as well as 2 lower control arms with angle-mounted shocks on each side. When they fed these spring rates through the computer, somebody must have pushed the button labeled jelly because they're soft. And our tester had the supposed heavy-duty package. I'd hate to drive the one they call standard. Why the engineers build the personal luxury type car so soft and wallowy is beyond my understanding, especially when stiffer springs, beefier sway bars, and man-sized heavy-duty shocks make for a far safer automobile, and one that's a pleasure to drive. With its vinyl Landau roof, long hood, short deck profile, and an interior like Cleopatra's chamber, the Cougar XR7 is 2 tons of pure luxury. However, on this stretched cat, we found the beauty to be only skin deep. Now, if they were to mount all this glitter atop some of the knowledge they gained from the Wood brothers on the NASCAR trail, LM would undoubtedly have the car of the century.
Mercury and Oldsmobile have excelled in the intermediate department for several years now. And you might be happy to learn that the 74 line is perhaps as good as any previous offering. Now, to match the Cougar XR7, we chose the Salon model from Olds. It represents the top of the Cutlass totem pole. Now, if a mid-size car is your preference, plus scads of luxury, then decision time between these two could be quite a chore. You've seen the Cougar. Now here's the Cutlass.
On the first shot off the line, we had 30 in 3.7 seconds. The car had a 273 rear end with 350 cubic incher up front, and the ride to 50 was a little disappointing. It took about 8.5 seconds. If you get bored on the way to 50, you may fall asleep coaxing it to 60. This run took 15.6 seconds. We ran the quarter mile in 19 seconds flat at 78 miles an hour. On the Salon model, disc brakes up front are standard. From 30, it came to a halt in 34 feet. With hot brakes, this stop from 50 ate up 96 feet, with pedal fade now becoming quite noticeable. The binders on our test car were pulling severely to the right. No amount of correction would keep it in a straight line. From 70 miles an hour, this stop took 198 feet, with the pedal fading nearly to the floor. We ordered our Cutlass from the factory with the optional heavy-duty suspension system. For the few additional dollars, I consider it the best accessory buy on the market. It made this run through the pylons a piece of cake. Olds did it again. The bucket seats in this Salon are superb. Just the right amount of firmness to provide excellent comfort and also good lateral support. Body lean was not excessive, and the car recovered through the cones in good shape. This Cutlass took to high-speed cornering on the track as well as previous models. The big difference is the lack of power that the earlier models provided. This, of course, is due to the emission controls. There was not enough muscle to power through any of the turns. Consequently, entry into the corners had to be made at a slower speed. Some buyers I've spoken with are hesitant about ordering the heavy-duty suspension package for fear that the ride will be too rough. And this is true with some makes of cars, but not so with the Olds Cutlass. Their compromise between comfortable ride and good handling is excellent, and they have the secret. Underneath the salon, we had coil springs up front with a new larger stabilizer bar and beefy shocks. In the rear, they featured 4-link coil springs, another stabilizer bar, plus angled heavy-duty shocks. And the whole package rides on the standard offering of 15-inch steel-belted radial tires mounted on 7-inch wide wheels. The tires added greatly to the car's cornering ability. Oldsmobile has been a leader in the intermediate field for several years. If you can overlook some of the performance deficits caused by the EPA standards, you won't be disappointed in their newest production. Neither car is noteworthy as far as fuel consumption. They both averaged about 12 miles per gallon. They carried all the accessories that you could load on an automobile. Both were very luxurious. Both had a whale of a price tag. We gave the nod to the Cutlass in the braking department, the Cougar in acceleration, the Cutlass for handling and suspension, and rated them even up for ride factor. The overall edge, well, we gave it to the Cutlass, but only by a hubcap. The top USAC drivers in the nation make their annual pilgrimage to the desert for this Phoenix 150. They brought their racers here from Ontario, California, where they ran just 1 week prior to this one. Bobby Unser won the California 500, and a checkered flag today would give him 2 back-to-back wins and a heads-up favorite for the Indy 500. These 2 races are considered by the drivers and mechanics as an excellent shakedown cruise for their new cars before heading to the May Classic at Indianapolis. With all final preparations completed, drivers are called to their cars, and the boarding procedure is underway. There's a thunderous roar from the machinery as well as the spectators when the announcement is made to start engines. Al Unser in the Viceroy car number 15 starts on the pole position with Johnny Rutherford in car 3 alongside. Starting in the 3rd spot is Bobby Unser driving the Olsenite Eagle number 48. In the 4th position, car 9, Lloyd Ruby, the driver. The 3rd row consists of car 14, A.J. Foyt, and 7, Gordon Johncock. Then it's Mario Andretti and Gary Bettenhausen. The 5th row features George Snyder driving the Gilmore Racing Special number 82 and Wally Dallenbach in car 2. These are the top 10 that bring this 20-car field screaming under the green flag, and they're off. After a wild scramble into turn 1, Johnny Rutherford comes out with the lead. Al Unser is 2nd, Bobby 3rd. Through the 3rd pocket, A.J. Foyt in the red number 14 is running 4th and begins to close on Bobby Unser. At the end of the 1st lap, Gordon Johncock in the blue number 7 moves up to take over 5th place behind Foyt. They're wound up now. Yellow flag of the day came out on lap 9 when Jimmy Carruthers and Raj McCluskey brushed entering turn 1. Carruthers lost it, spun, and hit the outside retaining wall. Jimmy is all right, but his Cobra Firestone Special number 21 is out of the race. Al Unser and Johnny Rutherford, the 2 leaders, took this opportunity to pit. Unser was out first, and this put his number 15 Viceroy Special up front on the restart. the green, and this race is once again underway. Al Unser leads Foyt and Johncock through turn 1. Lloyd Ruby is running fourth. Al really pours it on down the long back chute and stretches his lead over Foyt and Johncock. The leader is slowing down. As he makes his way through the fourth turn, he dives low and heads for the pits. He was running so strong, and all of a sudden the car just seemed to quit. When the crew check it out, they find a loose turbo connection. Then they send him back out, but now Foyt has the lead. Johncock punches his blue number 7 around Foyt on the outside to grab the front spot and drop A.J. to second place. Wally Dallenbach is third with Tom Sneva a close fourth. The second spinner of the day belongs to Raj McCluskey in the Lindsey Hopkins car, number 1. He lost it entering the turn, spun, and hit the wall. That puts another car out of the race. Meanwhile, with the yellow flag out, there's a rash of pit stops. Shortly after the green flag came out and the restart underway, A.J. Foyt took command in the red Gilmore Racing Special number 14. Wally Dallenbach second in car 2, and Tom Sneva had moved into third in car 24. Entering the third turn, Sneva fires past Dallenbach to take over the second place spot, and now begins to close the gap on A.J. The battle is on as Foyt and Sneva start to stretch third place Wally Dallenbach in the blue car number 2. While Wally screams by, Foyt slowed up in the fourth turn and headed for the pits. It was a short stop, but it cost him the lead. Hey, there goes another one. It all ended for race leader Tom Sneva on lap 65 when a rear shock broke and sent the car on a wild spinner in the third turn. The caution lights were lit, but only long enough to get him off the track. Then the green flew again. Dallenbach is out in front now and flying. Foyt holds the second spot with Johnny Rutherford back up in third place. The wall almost claimed another car. This time it was Lloyd Ruby in number 9. He lost it, spun, but stayed off the guardrail. With the yellow out, several cars pitted for fuel, including Lloyd Ruby. He came in for a suspension adjustment, lost a couple of laps, but went back in the race. The green flag came out on the 100th lap, and with it came A.J. Foyt back in the lead. Simon is second in car number 98. Mike Mosley has the third spot. Mike started last in this one. He's driven a strong, consistent race all the way, and he even looks better now. Foyt relinquished the lead on lap 109 when he made a 14-second pit stop to take on fuel to go the distance. When A.J. came back on the track, he found that Mike Mosley owned the lead in car 98. The boy that started dead last was now the front runner, and that's some kind of a ride. Foyt moves from 6th to 5th when he passes Mario Andretti down the front chute. Bobby Unser is 4th, Dick Simon 3rd, John Cock 2nd. Bobby Unser moves into 2nd place when he passes John Cock, and Dick Simon wheels his big number 44 into the pits for fuel. Foyt is in the 4th spot now and presses John Cock hard through every turn. Entering turn 3, he gets a wheel on the inside of Gordy and powers the big red Coyote through the hole to take over 3rd. But he's a long way from the front spot. Mike Mosley has opened up a 7-second lead over 2nd place Bobby Unser. There it is, the white flag. One more lap, and the boy who started last will finish 1st. Number 48, Bobby Unser, holds down on 2nd. With number 14, A.J. Foyt 3rd. There's the checkered flag, the rainbow, and the pot of gold for Mike Mosley, who streaks across the finish line, winner of the Phoenix 150. Mike blew the clutch out the day before trying to qualify. For this reason, he started last. And now, while pulling into victory lane, the water pump on his Offie Eagle gave out. But all the parts lasted long enough to give him his first championship win in 4 years. And he was a very happy boy.
With the increased popularity of the mini car, we figured it wouldn't take long for some manufacturer to introduce a mini trailer. And we found one. It comes from the trailer state of Indiana, and it features a 5th wheel type of hitch that allows you mobility that you wouldn't believe.
With this trailer, a compact owner can now join the camper-crowded highways on a weekend trek to some not-too-distant Shangri-La. The trailer hitches to a reinforced point about midway on the roof of the car. This makes the coupling more secure, thus eliminating sway, floating, and jackknifing. The trailer itself is very light, and this hitch assembly distributes the weight evenly over all 4 wheels of the car. The unit contains a full bath, kitchen sink, range, closet space, and according to the manufacturer, enough sleeping room for 4 adults, or 2 adults and 3 children. However, we suggest that the occupants be friendly. Of course, after spending several hours en route in this car, they'll either be good friends or bitter enemies. We've heard of maneuverability, but 360 degrees? If Dad performs a few of these gyrations while the family is having breakfast, there could be a trailer load of trouble. The trailer is built especially for small domestic and imported cars, and closely matched with the wheel track width to make for easier running in mud or snow. It does have some degree of aerodynamic styling, which is designed to reduce drag and give better mileage. Our tests with the Beetle providing the power averaged between 18 and 20 miles per gallon. Some call it just another little car gimmick, but good, bad, or indifferent, it does give the mini car passengers some place to go to stretch their legs.
Well, that's one way to go, but don't take too many, and make sure they're friendly, because it do get mighty crowded. Right now, it's quitting time. We have to leave you, but we'll be back with some wild racing action next week at the same time, so pull in, won't you? Until then, this is Bud Lindemann, reminding you to drive carefully, show a little courtesy, and you'll have a much happier trip. Bye-bye.